we're going to be talking about Chapter Two's book problems, and we're going to look at a couple of them, just sampling from the different topics. We're going to be on page 16 in the book, and we're going to look at number one first. This is really whenever it's asking you about what kind of category it is, you can be sure that that is a categorical variable. These things have sections or kind of pieces that you can look at as an idea. It's not a number or a quantity. It's just pretty straightforward. Okay, number 9. This is one about where they posted a picture and they wanted to see if that made a difference, if people would donate the amount of money they're supposed to in the honor system. And so the problem was about anyone who would go into that situation and, quote, buy coffee, whether they actually gave the amount of money or they sold the coffee by simply not buying it. And so the what is always our variables. This is the thing that we're going to be counting. In this case, they wanted to count the amount of money left over based on the number of coffees. They sold so many coffee cups, and they wanted to make sure they counted up how much money was there to see if it matched up with what was supposed to be there. Now, they're looking at like all situations where you've got kind of a honesty, a honor code system. They wanted to know if people were being watched, were they going to be actually more honest than they were if they were not watched? And so this was kind of an observational study where they went in just kind of, well, actually it's probably more like an experiment, because they manipulated something and they put the picture there and they wanted to see how many people would actually keep to the honor code and pay the amount of money that they were supposed to pay. The population of interest is something that isn't always plain and clear. I need to read the question. I might need to infer a few things about what's going on inside the question. So keep that in mind. The next question, number 10, this one is about, this was movies that were first released. And when you're looking at who, or when you're trying to describe that, and remember, who doesn't always mean a person. In this case, it's a movie. And be as specific as they can. They told us how many, and they also told us in what year it was. That's a really big deal. So be as specific as the context will allow you to be. In this case, you have 120 of the first run movies in 2005. And they were measuring or recording two variables. In this case, it was the length of the movie and the amount of profit the movie generated. In the population of interest would be, in this case, it's really just the first run movies. They were from 2005, but I think we can infer that's probably representative of in a year, so we could just kind of leave it as first run movies. Okay, 15. This one is about Arby's sandwiches, and this is kind of a long thing, so I'm just going to put it up there all at the same time. The information that we have is about the sandwiches on the Arby's menu. What? They recorded a few things. Number one, they recorded the type of meat it was. They recorded the number of calories it contained and the serving size, and that was in ounces. The number of calories happens to be in just calories. That's a unit. The when, right? Remember, there are a lot of these questions that may never have an answer. You may not know that if the article wasn't specific enough to tell you that. The average reader probably doesn't care a lot about these details. So in this case, if I don't know it, you can say unknown or not mentioned or something to that effect. Where? We would have gotten that information from the Arby's restaurant or from Arby's information somewhere, maybe on their website or something. Why? This was something where you may have to kind of, again, infer from what was going on. They may not directly tell you, but a lot of the time the why, the purpose of the study is pretty clear. They're trying to kind of assess all the nutritional values from all the different menu sandwiches that Arby's has. And then how did they do this? Well, they took a census because they have every sandwich off of Arby's menu. So it wasn't a sample. They took all of them, right? And that's what we consider a census. They would have just looked it up in records or something of that nature. The variables, remember I said the what always records the variable. In this case, the type of meat, this is a categorical variable, so it doesn't really have units. It's just a name, a type. But the number of calories and the serving size, these are quantitative, right? Usually, if you can affix a unit to a variable, that's Not every time, but for the most part, that's a good indication that you have a quantitative data. I hope this helps. See you next time.